Hello guys, Chris here and welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing the GeForce GTX 1660 Ti in days gone. This one is the Zotac AMP edition of the card. It's running the latest Nvidia drivers here for 66.63. I'm not overclocking it. As you can see here, it comes already factory overclocked, and we're running it with a Ryzen 9 5900X and 32GB of RAM. You should get around the same FPS if you have something like a Ryzen 3 3300X, maybe a Ryzen 5 3600. i5 10400F, for example, or even like a 9400F, since this game doesn't really utilize a lot of cores. Let's get into it, shall we? And let's go over the settings. First, we're playing it at the 1080p resolution at the moment. We're also going to test it at 1440p and 4K, starting off at 1080. And over on the graphic settings, we're using the high settings preset. I might try like very high settings, but I think you should play on high with the 1660 Ti. I'm just going to disable these two options right here because I don't really like the effects. Holy! Okay, this is a very demanding area here in this game, and we're getting above 80 FPS basically. Look at that, slightly dropping into the 70s. This is awesome performance, guys. It's the first time I'm playing this game on high settings with really good FPS, so yeah, this is awesome. I'm gonna walk around the camp for a little bit because, again, this is like the most intensive area that I've come across so far, and it seems like it's hitting 100 FPS at times. Look at that. That's amazing, guys. There's no need to play at very high settings, in my opinion, because the game looks almost the same as high, and it performs much worse. The frame time graph is also very consistent, and the 1% lows are amazing, by the way. Okay, let's get out of here, grab our bike, and go. Like 94 FPS on average in this area. That's insane. What the hell? Alright, let's go. 67 FPS there on the 1% lows because it stuttered a little bit. God damn it, there I am, just breaking my bike every single time. So outside of camp, I'm expecting a lot higher FPS, of course. Maybe like 100 plus most of the time. Maybe not, right around 100. That's really nice still. Now, of course, this is a single player title, so you don't really need a high refresh rate experience, but this is way smoother than 60 FPS. If you have a high refresh rate monitor, you will feel that difference, and this is gonna feel amazing, basically. I'm running on 60 Hz because of the capture card, but yeah, it's still buttery smooth. The frame time issues are still there sometimes, but it's way less noticeable above 60 FPS, so it's completely fine to me. You're gonna feel that stutter, you know, like that little frame time spike every now and again, but no worries here. 2560 by 1440 resolution using the high settings, and oh boy, we were getting 69, we're getting 68 now. Again, look at that. Why? Okay, anyway, the game is looking super sharp right now. Unbelievable. This is amazing, and it's still above 60 frames. Now, the frame time spikes might happen a little bit more often because we're closer to 60 frames. Maybe it was still loading something, I don't know, in that big spike that we saw, because right now it's actually really smooth and playable. I think we should go back to camp to check out the frames there. It might actually drop from 60, not too sure, but even if it does, I think I'd choose to play like this. This is just beautiful. It's gorgeous, guys. Can we actually go through here? No, probably not. I'm not gonna wreck my bike today, okay? I think we can cross the river. Felt those two frame time spikes, by the way, or frame time. Not frame time, frame skips. Frame skips. I gotta put that in my mind. I always say frame time spikes or frame time issues, but sometimes you can't even tell that the game is skipping frames by looking at the graph there. So those are actually frame skips. Anyway, around 70 FPS here while driving in the woods. That's insane, guys. Oh, okay, we're fine. Dropping down into the 60s. Dropping slowly. Okay, 59, 56. I mean, I'd play like this. Absolutely fine. Like, it's a single player title again, so as long as... Oh, 69 on average. What the hell? Seriously, game? All right, that's awesome. Okay, that's a really nice experience at 1440p. If you want 60 plus all of the time, you can drop it down to medium settings, but I wouldn't, because the jump from medium to high settings in visual fidelity is massive, and I think you really should aim for those high settings. If you have something like a 1660 Ti, 2060, even like a 1070. I'm gonna stop it there now, and we're gonna try out 4K. Now, 4K is kind of out of the capabilities of the 1660 Ti usually, but let's see. I'm just gonna resize this. It's kind of like a 1050 Ti at 1440p low, I believe. Or maybe a 1650 that I tested earlier today at the 1440p medium or high, maybe. I think that dropped from 30 on high at 1440p. So, yeah, it's looking super sharp. Once again, if you have a 4K monitor, I think it's actually enjoyable and playable like this. I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting to need to play this game at medium settings for 4K resolution, but it's hanging in there. It didn't really drop from 30 FPS yet. The 1% lows have, because of the slight frame time variations that you can see there. Especially those huge ones right now. That's really weird. Whenever you approach 30 FPS, that happens. So you might want to lock your game to 30 frames if you want to play at 4K high. Let's get out of here. Look back at the camp. Didn't drop, guys. I think it's 100% playable. If it doesn't drop from 30, you can plug your controller into your PC, lock the frames to 30, and play at 4K all day long. It's going to be a console-like experience. It's not going to be as smooth as 60, obviously. But again, single-player title, and if you're all about those visuals or that sharpness, like, this is awesome. It's doable. 4K is doable on a 1660 Ti at high. Be honest, at this point, I don't really feel the need to play this game at very high settings, because again, it looks almost the same as high, and it's gonna perform a lot worse. But I know that some of you might be interested in seeing like 1080p very high, so I'm gonna test it out, okay? Real quick, hopefully, because the videos are getting really long whenever I test a lot of settings. Okay, stop it there. 38 FPS on average is crazy at 4K. Okay, so now we're back to 1080p resolution using the very high settings. Turn that off. Oh boy, look at that. It's still above 60 frames at 1080p very high. So if you have a 1080p monitor, just choose whatever settings you want. It's gonna be a great experience, basically. Look at that. And it does seem to get around the same FPS in this area, or at least up there, as the camp. So, of course, we're going to get there real soon, but 62, 67, it's all right. We don't have fuel. Thank God we're in the camp now. We can refuel it there, but okay, very slowly approaching that. Hello? Hello, guys. So it's dropping from 60 slightly. It seems like it's getting the same FPS as 1440p high settings. So yeah, it's still a perfectly playable experience. Again, it's not 60 plus all of the time. As you can see, 58. But I don't think you'll notice those frame drops that much, especially if you don't have any FPS counter enabled. Yeah, drops to 58 basically, so it's perfectly fine. 1440p resolution. Oh my gosh, the game is so gorgeous, guys. At 1440p or 4K, it's awesome. It's awesome to play like this. Now, since we are below 60 FPS most of the time, you're gonna feel those frame skips a lot more often. It's still not bad, you know, but I definitely lock it to like 45 or something like that, so it's a little bit smoother. I just refueled my bike. The menu didn't really seem to lower your FPS. We were getting like 56 there. It's okay. It's okay. I've had a lot worse experiences in this game with pretty much every card that I tested so far. So seeing these FPS at 1440p very high is very nice. But again, you know my opinion already. The game looks basically the same as high, so you should definitely choose to play on high settings. Yeah, 51 there. 52 frames on average. Not bad. Okay, 4K resolution, very high settings. Oh, it's dropping now. Yeah, well, you might want to leave that for the RTX 2080s. Maybe like the 3070s and 3080s as well. Those will have no problem playing like this. But the 1660 Ti is clearly not a 4K card. For it to be getting 28 FPS on average here in this game at maxed settings, 4K resolution, is still very impressive. This is good for screenshots, but not good for playing the game. Now, what if you want more FPS at 4K resolution? I'm gonna test medium settings here without chromatic aberration using the 4K resolution for this. Right, that's not too bad, but you can see already that the visual fidelity is just... yeah, compared to high, it doesn't look good, does it? Still decent, but it doesn't look good compared to what we've seen today. What am I doing? No, don't break the bike, please, Crisp. They're right after me. Of course, the 1660 Ti is also... what happened? A 6 GB card, so... if you're playing on medium or high, it's enough, even at 4K, which is great to see. Some other games like Call of Duty Warzone will eat VRAM and RAM for breakfast, and it will actually max out the 6 gigs here. As you can see, frame skipping issues here. Not anymore, I think. It's always when you arrive at camp for some reason. When you arrive here, it has those weird stuttering issues with the frame skips. And then it's fine. It might load something, I don't know. But it's okay. 41 FPS average and 31% lows. It's not that different in performance compared to the high settings. So again, I'd lock it to 30 and play on high if you want to play at 4K with this card. So, thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one very soon. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.